Hello guys, Sujara speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM, episode number 870, and today we react to episode 16 of OddGamer, Scooby-Doo Unmasked. React to this beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank you.
Okay. Wow. Archive game? Hang on. Scooby-Doo Unmasked, pause real quick. No, turn it down. But anyway. OddGamer and Scooby-Doo Unmasked. Continue on. Title card designed by Alan Pearson. Continue on.
Hello, internet viewers. I'm the Fairly Odd Gamer. Throughout the year, I review games that are based on well-known movies because of live-action remakes.
Okay.
Most of the Disney films. However, I rarely talk about well-known franchises for this channel.
Okay.
Except for Toy Story. But other than that, there's a franchise that is so well-known that has been going on for 50 years. That's right. I'm, of course, talking about Scooby-Doo.
Okay, makes sense.
Scooby-Doo was the brainchild of Joe Ruby and Ken Peters, both of whom were writers for the animation production company.
Now, they passed away in 2020. Continue on.
The company was mostly known for not only the Tom and Jerry cartoons, but also
Okay.
for shows such as The Flintstones, Yogi Bear, The Jetsons, The Smurfs, and The Banana Splits. Well,
Okay.
before they became Freddy Fazbear knockoffs. It
Wow.
started on September 13th, 1969, when Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? First premiered on NBC. And
No, it's actually on CBS. Okay, hold on.
1969, when Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? First premiered on NBC.
It's actually on CBS. My mistake. Continue on.
And it's been on the air for 2 years.
Okay.
Since then, the show has evolved to multiple iterations, such as A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, and the newest iteration, Scooby-Doo and Guess Who.
He also did the 2 other series called, let's just say, for example, Scooby-Doo Movies, for example, and Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo. Continue on.
In addition, the show had many animated films, as well as a few live-action films, and was
Wow.
named 24 of the top 100 best animated shows by IGN.
Okay.
And of course, like every other well-known cartoon franchise, lots of video games were made a high of success. And which game will I be reviewing, you may ask? Well, how about Scooby-Doo Unmasked for the GameCube? Now, this is where I show you a physical copy of the game. But the game I have isn't one of those cheap covers you find at a rental store.
Okay.
You know what? I wish I had an actual physical copy of this game.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
So is this game as good as the show? Let's find out.
Okay. Makes sense.
Well, the game was published by Warner Brothers. It was developed
Good.
by THQ and
Same thing with Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy for the Wii. Continue on.
2M. The
It's
same company that
okay.
made The Grinch on PS1. The
Wow.
game is a recreation of the classic Scooby-Doo intro, and honestly, it looks pretty good. Even though we see the villains and goons from here instead of the ones from the show, I don't mind that at all. Anyway, the game starts off with the gang on their way to meet Fred's cousin Jed at Monsters, Fright, and Magic, also known as MFM for short. But once they arrive, the place ends up being a disaster. In other words,
Wow.
This place has been completely ransacked.
not to
Wow.
mention Jed is nowhere to be seen. After Fred and the gang split up to look for clues, leaving Scooby behind, the gameplay begins. We play as Scooby for the entirety of the game. If you haven't guessed yet, it's a basic platformer game.
Okay.
The controls on a basic level work pretty well. Use the control stick to move, jump with the A button, pressing it twice lets you double jump, and attack with the B and X button. You can also perform combo attacks that can inflict more damage onto enemies, such as sliding, rolling, and doing a belly flop. You can also find Scooby sacks that are either scattered, hidden in crates, or sometimes leading to where Scooby needs to go next. Also, collecting 100 of them lets you regain a lost medal, which is used as the game's health meter. You can also slide on poles and climb on monkey bars. There's also a Scooby Snacks box that automatically regains any lost medals. And how do you get more health? More on that later. You also pass through checkpoints by moving past a TV screen that will then turn on once you passed it. Sometimes when you fall off of something, it only takes away 1 medal. But if you lose all your medals, you then start back from the beginning or last stage checkpoint.
Okay.
Anyway, Scooby gets saved by 2 MFM employees, Marcy and the CEO, Winslow Stanton, voiced by Adam West.
Wow. The late Adam West, who passed away at the age of, I'm not sure, I'm not telling the age, sorry. Because he also voiced the Batman, the brightest Batman ever in the series, from 1966 to not sure what year it canceled. Continue on.
Material used is called mubber.
A remarkable soy-based formula that can take any shape.
Okay.
And it only breaks down under UV light.
After Fred tells Stan about Jed, Stan tells the gang that Jed stole the mubber as well as the animatronics for evil doings, which would explain why the animatronics were going haywire. It's up to Scooby and the gang to not only take care of the monster mayhem, but also clear Jed's name from being a prime suspect. Marcy, who also works at MFM, tells Scooby and the gang that Jed last made his delivery to Chinatown for the upcoming New Year's parade, which is the first stage, Shuttery Showdown in Chinatown. The gang meets up with Maggie Z, who warns them about the ghost of Zen 2-0, and no, it's not the one from the original series. But she suddenly disappears after hearing the dragons roar. As always, it's up to Scooby and the gang to solve the mystery. Can I just point out right now that I love the look of the hub worlds? They each have a Scooby-Doo feel for them, and they look like locations that would be used for the show. Chinatown has the oriental feel to it, as if it were taking place in China. And the theme park, though it looks dark, does feel like an actual theme park.
Okay.
If this were an actual theme park, then I would go to it. And the museum feels like an actual museum you'd normally see. I think each of the hub worlds do the job pretty well.
Makes
Each
sense.
level is never apart from one another, and I can easily tell which level is in any part of that area. The hub worlds also have the mystery machine, which allows you to replay certain levels that let you unlock more areas to discover in the hub world, or just for the sake of fully completing the game. There's also Shaggy's Porta Kitchen, which is basically a food stand you find in a crowded street. Throughout each level, you'll find food scattered across the level, which happen to be the ingredients needed for Shaggy to make delicious treats for both himself as well as Scooby.
Okay.
For every treat Shaggy makes, it gains Scooby one additional medal. So back to the story. After Scooby finds clues in a cookie factory, both he and Shaggy find Zentuo, but manages to disappear to the sewers courtesy of a manhole. But to Shaggy's curiosity, he then falls into the sewers.
Shaggy fell in the sewers?
Okay.
Then he is lost. The sewers are Zentuo's domain.
Wow.
And who is this Zentuo, you may ask? Well, according to Maggie,
He's a very powerful ghost who
Wow.
controls the great dragon. He has cursed this
Wow.
city. You should leave.
yeah, how should I say this? You did it. Now that I'm here, let's talk about the power-ups. Scooby has to find silver coins to unlock new suits made in Mower, by the way, that give him new abilities. Like this one, a Kung Fu outfit that gives him the ability to perform martial arts. Kung Fu Scooby is incredible when it comes to battle, and he can dish out more pain to enemies than he ever did in the game. I had to mention earlier that you can collect multicolored splotches of mubber that you need to put into the machine to build these suits.
Makes
You can
sense.
also find these gold coins that upgrade any power suit. Unfortunately, Scooby loses his ability once he passes through a UV light barrier. Anyway, Scooby saves Shaggy in the sewer. After Scooby finds the clues in Chinatown, he then fights the dragon. However, Scooby has to collect enough mubber needed to make the Kung Fu outfit.
Okay.
Afterwards, Scooby can beat the dragon by using the Mega Strike. To be perfectly honest, I cannot stand this boss battle. After going through the platforming levels that I enjoyed, this boss battle took me forever to beat. In order to beat the dragon, you have to be at the right spot to use the Mega Strike. Otherwise, you miss your chance to attack and possibly lose health in the process. While doing that, you also have rats that can blindside you without even noticing. At long last, Scooby defeats the dragon and Zentuo is revealed to be, no surprise, Maggie Z. Not only did the disappearing act give it away, but she was near a sewer entrance.
Yeah.
Using the dragon as a distraction, she could drop down into the sewer.
Oh boy.
But it turns out she was a mother animatronic as they found a radio that has a man's voice. Fred knows that the voice from the radio didn't come from Jet. But the game moves on as we head to the next area, Rock and Roller Coaster Terror. This
Jesus.
to Rock and Roller Coaster Land, a theme park owned by a musician known as the Guitar Ghoul.
Okay.
What is this Guitar Ghoul they speak of?
Nobody knows.
Right.
Appears and disappears where and when he wants to.
This is Alvin Wiener, a longtime fan of the Guitar Ghoul. He tells the gang that the Guitar Ghoul has been haunting the amusement park, scaring everyone away. Before I move on, let's talk about the voice acting. I'm glad I got the actors from the show to reprise the roles, such as Minnie Cohn as Velma, Scott Ennis as Shaggy and Scooby, Ray Lal Griffin as Daphne, and Frank Welker as Fred. Also, it might be a coincidence that Alvin sounds somewhat similar to OddGamer if he were a rock star. But then again, that's just me.
Okay. Makes sense.
Hey dude, did you call for me?
Excuse me. Sorry about that, everyone. Excuse me. Oh, sorry about that, everyone. Did you say what? Okay. Sorry about that. What did you say? Guys, sorry about that.
Alvin sounds somewhat similar to OddGamer if he were a rock star. But then again, that's just me.
Okay.
Hey dude, did you call for me?
I don't think so, Hawks.
Oh.
Wow.
You know, gamer, if it hadn't been surfing, it would have been radical to be a rock star.
Really?
Yeah, gamer.
But honestly, I think you're perfect just the way you are.
Yeah.
Excellent, dude.
Nice.
Wow.
Thanks. Anyway, I was just curious. Later, dude.
Wow.
There are some times where the controls can be a bit finicky, and that's the surfing portions. Specifically the giant water slide at the end of the water park level. You have to be very precise on when to turn while sliding. Otherwise, you'll more than likely fall off the slide and fall into a bottomless pit.
Okay.
Remember what I said earlier about the checkpoint system? Normally, I'd be okay with that. But if you fall off the slide, no matter how far you get, you have to start the water slide section again from the beginning. But if there's one thing I like about the water park level, it's the music. It has a combination of rock, pop, and even some cartoon elements of scary music, which I think fits perfectly for a Scooby-Doo game. I even love the music for the boss battles, mainly the Dragon Boss and the Guitar Girl.
Wow.
Both Shaggy and Scooby find a girl named Nikki Starlight, who happens to be the Guitar Girl's girlfriend. The danger-prone Daphne gets trapped in a cage, who Scooby manages to find and save in a circus tent. Scooby once again finds all the clues, and Velma has to figure out which clues are relevant to the identity of the ghoul. After that, they find him in the House of Mirrors. Actually, let's talk about the clues. After you find the clues in levels, you have to immediately talk to Velma so she can further analyze the clues in greater detail. And completing all the levels in certain areas have you guess which of the clues you found end up matching the ones that Velma is referring to. In the House of Mirrors, you have the Guitar Girl playing his guitar standing on a rotating platform while shooting lightning bolts at Scooby floating in the air. Scooby, on the other hand, has to spin his spiders there for breaking the glass surrounding the ghoul. If you manage to spin a spider into the ghoul after breaking portions of the glass barrier. Pretty straightforward, so nothing else to add. Another thing I want to point out, which I forgot to mention for the Dragon Boss, after beating the boss for that specific hub world, you cannot go back to that hub world. Well, I don't mind that personally. I think there should be something that lets you go back to certain hub worlds in case you miss something. But unfortunately, it's not the case here. Anyway, the Guitar Girl turned out to be Alvin Wiener. But how did he do it?
Mr. Wiener's band, Deaf Potato, was never a real success.
Wow.
He blamed his failure on the Guitar Girl, whom he saw as a rival.
Wait.
Wow.
So, like, you blamed yourself?
Wow.
This game has a laugh track. It makes sense because the original show, it did have some laugh tracks whenever it was appropriate. Regardless,
Wow.
it's nice.
I mean, my friend Bob shows not a huge fan of laugh tracks in the cartoons. This, on the other hand, I'm a huge fan of. I respect Bob Show's opinion on this one, but for me, I am one of them. Continue on.
So Scooby finds out that the costume is made of rubber as well. Apparently, Wiener wanted revenge for Death Potato's failure by destroying the theme park. Also, we find out that the real Guitar Girl was actually Nikki. Why, you may ask?
I wanted to share my music, not my life. So I created the Guitar Girl disguise.
Moving on to the next area, Harem Scarum at the museum. Probably the most clever name for a hub world, in my opinion. Apparently, Nikki told the game that Monsters Friday and Magic have provided most of the new interactive exhibits at the museum. Scooby finds Shaggy in the dinosaur exhibit and is about to have himself a drumstick. But suddenly, a pterodactyl swoops Shaggy away, and Scooby has to save him. It then leads to Scooby flying away from pterodactyls that breathe out green gas.
Makes sense.
In this section, Scooby is flying toward the screen, and seeing an arrow means that an obstacle is approaching and has to be avoided as quickly as possible. After Scooby saves Shaggy, again, Scooby finds the clues, and Velma once again figures out the mystery. They then head to the planetarium where they find the caveman, which leads to another boss battle. Remember when I said earlier that the water slide controls in this game were bad? Well, the controls in this boss battle is just as bad, if not worse.
Wow.
Scooby is controlling a small UFO while trying to bash the caveman's UFO into a laser barrier. It kind of reminds me of Amy's boss battle against Zero in Sonic Adventure. But controlling the UFO is jittery and slippery and very easy to mess up. Anyway, Scooby has a force field which protects you from damage, and lets reminds what you place that helps inflict more damage, but could also damage yourself, so watch out for that.
Yes, exactly.
The caveman, therefore making the boss battle easy, and the spark shooters that can home in on the caveman. Honestly, I love the force field and the spark shooter because it can help you greatly when fighting the caveman. It turns out that caveman is actually the security guard under the name Joseph Grimm.
Wow.
His plan, I think, was to gain petroleum by using oil pumping machines courtesy of the dinosaur animatronics. Also, there was a contract that Scooby found, which was a contract to Monsters Friday Magic, which immediately points back to not only Stanton, but also Jed's disappearance. In other words,
Stanton sent us on a wild goose chase.
the game heads back to Monsters Friday Magic as they find Stanton. But suddenly...
Well, hold on. What?
Stanton. But suddenly,
Well, that's strange. Why would the game crash when I'm just about to beat this thing? Let's try that again.
I found out this game crashes after playing through the whole cutscene. After restarting the game, I decided to skip the cutscene, and finally it works again. Scooby once again fights the animatronics, only this time you can now fight them in the Mother power-up suits. I guess see why it didn't work when we first got in MFM. Anyway, after Scooby and the gang find more animatronics, which Scooby then destroys, they find out that Jed was trapped in a fish costume the whole time. It turns out that Jed was framed by Stan after figuring out that Stan was up to no good, which resulted in him getting trapped in the costume. That explains why I heard a faint male voice from a fish creature in the beginning of the game. Anyway, the gang, as well as Jed, hear Stanton's voice through a speaker coming from the miniature city set, and they go after Stanton for the evil he's done. We then get the final boss of the game, a life-size pterodactyl animatronic. It's a 3-tier
Wow.
It's pretty straightforward. The first tier requires Scooby to don the Robin Hood outfit, which he uses to shoot the pointer arrows in the pterodactyl's mouth when you see a red target flashing by the open mouth. After that, the pterodactyl falls, and Scooby then dons the Batman outfit. The second tier is pretty much the same thing as the one from the dinosaur exhibit, so talking about it here would be redundant. Also, if you die at a certain tier, it lets you restart to that tier. Thank goodness. Once that's done, the pterodactyl crashes between two identical towers as Scooby dons the ninja suit. The final tier is pretty basic. While trying to destroy the pesky rats, you have to spin into a light that inflicts some damage. Then Scooby can laser blast the pterodactyl, which then inflicts more damage. With 4 laser blasts to the head, the pterodactyl is finally defeated. The game finds Stanton at the control booth, but it turns out there's 2 Stantons. Scooby finds the fake Stanton man Mother, and it's revealed to be, get this, Marcy. It turns out she was actually trying to frame Stanton and not Jed. But why?
Because I helped create Mother, but you took all the credit for it. I thought that if I gave you a bad name, I could start up my own business.
Wow.
Mr. Stanton, is this true?
Yeah, I forgot to mention this. Sometimes the subtitles don't match up to the dialogue exactly. Even though they're both similar, it seems as though the voice actors change up the wording in order to make it feel more authentic. But then again, it might be another coincidence. Anyway, Stanton gives his condolences to her and allows him to be his partner for the company, which he agrees to. And the ending feels like a typical ending from the show. Jackie makes himself a Mother sandwich, but Scooby uses the light to disintegrate it.
Now that's what I call a light snack.
Yep.
The gang laughs with another mystery solved. The end. Scooby-Doo Unmasked as a whole is a mediocre platformer with elements that I personally enjoy. The game's story does feel like a classic Scooby-Doo episode, but there are some elements that I don't understand very clearly, especially with the Wild Goose Chase fiasco. Graphically, it's pretty good. While the game has celluloid graphics, it does capture the essence of the original show, keeping it as zany and cartoon as possible. Overall gameplay is pretty good, except for when the controls become slippery. However, I love the costume powers because it gives the player more ways to attack enemies or to explore each area of the game. I forgot to mention that Scooby can also collect trap pieces, but it just unlocks info about the monsters that Scooby fought in the game. So basically just bragging rights. If you're a diehard fan of the show and we want to play a game that has the same humor as the show, then this is the game for you. Whether you like it or not, you'll still have a good time and perhaps a good laugh with this game.
I'm a fairly odd gamer, and I wish you all good luck the rest of your day or night, wherever you are. Take care, everyone.
So that was Scooby-Doo Unmasked for our Gamer episode 16. What do I think about this episode? I think it was amazing. So far, overall, it was a successful episode, nonetheless. Let's see, let's read the credits so far and then we'll wrap things up. Wow. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Okay. And that was LJPCBM episode number 870. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned. Next one's going to be Very Odd Gamer episode number 17, which will be about the 2-in-1 video game. This will be 8 minutes long for Very Odd Gamer. Till next time, suggest and buy a piece of paper. We get more hours of reactions, guys. Excuse me. We get more hours of reactions, guys. Pretty soon. 2 minutes out. See ya.
time I failed to really understand it. I never sought to meet the maker of reality, the one who gave the life that which is always happening. But I tried all the time. Why me? Why was I the one to see things as I do under the moonlight and the sun? Perception is the question, and the giver holds the key.